Hey there, I'm John,
And I'm Josh.
and we are talking about the 2019 and 2020 as
That's
well
fair.
bowl games
Goes into it.
because some of them are going to go into 2020, but we're gonna try and cover the interesting facts of the upcoming bowl games for all of us.
Okay.
So starting December 20th, we have a couple bowl games. One is the Bahamas Bowl, and we have Buffalo versus UNC Charlotte.
49ers, yep.
The 49ers.
Not 49ers
that's right.
you want to cheer for.
No, not the same one.
They're both 7-5, both teams. UNC Charlotte hasn't even been an FBS team for very long currently, so good for them for making a bowl game in the first place.
Yeah.
I'll probably lean towards Buffalo just because of experience. In terms
yeah.
of,
Yeah.
Who knows, though?
Honestly, I don't know who to lean
Yeah.
towards, but yeah,
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. Then when you have the Frisco Bowl, and when we're talking about all these bowls, I'm not giving all these advertisers who have their names put on the bowls. So if anybody tries to sue us, well, you can't because we're not official anyway.
That's fair.
But we got 7-5 Utah State facing 6-6 Kent State.
Yeah, Utah State's season definitely didn't go the way Jordan Love, their senior quarterback, wanted it to go. They had really high expectations for him at the beginning of the year, and he didn't compete to near the level as a prospective NFL quarterback should compete.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think Utah State comes out and gets the dub for their final game.
I think they would too. Then December 21st, we have the birthday bowls. It's my birthday.
Okay.
We have a bunch of them on this one.
Yeah, there's something more important on your birthday.
There you go.
Let me tell you.
New Mexico Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl. You have 8-5 Central Michigan, Chippewas versus 9-3 San Diego State.
Yeah, so Central Michigan just lost the MAC championship to, wait for it, Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, they did.
And then San Diego State, they just kind of struggled down on the stretch, losing a couple games they probably shouldn't have lost.
You think they're going to
Again, I'm gonna lean towards San Diego State. I think for the most part, Mountain West and AAC, if they're competing against other Group of 5 conferences such as the MAC or Sun Belt or any of them, they're probably going to win
pretty well. Yeah.
Like they're just a better conference in general. So if I had to guess, San Diego State wins.
Alrighty, and the next one is the Mortgage Cure Bowl. Not even sure what that means, but
I believe both teams are 7-5.
yeah. So you have Liberty versus Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern was the one team that beat App State.
In other words, they're the one team that kept App State from making it to the New Year's Six.
This is true.
Because they would be ranked above Memphis in my mind if they're
And
undefeated.
in line with that, I would say Georgia State's probably going to win this game.
Georgia Southern?
Georgia Southern, thank you.
I would agree. I think they're both 7-5. They're both, especially Liberty. I mean, they're doing better than most people probably think they would. 7-5, 2 years into being an FBS school. Wow, good for them. But I would also lean towards Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I would think so as well. Then you have Boca Raton Bowl.
Arguably the most interesting bowl up to this point.
This one is very interesting. So you have 10-2 SMU. So Southern Methodist is going to be who lost to
Memphis and Navy. Two decent teams.
They're going to be facing Florida Atlantic, and there's some complications in this.
Yeah.
So Florida Atlantic's 10-3, beat UAB.
Crushed.
Crushed UAB. Thank you. But then you have Lane Kiffin, who abandoned ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's going to Ole Miss, and then you have
Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart's going to be coming in.
I don't know if he's coaching for sure or not.
But it seems that there's an interim coach. That's our assumption right now.
Yeah.
Is that there's an interim coach for Florida Atlantic. So who do you say?
I say SMU.
Okay.
Especially with all the commotion happening with coach changes and different things like that.
Yeah,
I just think it's not fair to your team if you've worked so hard with them as a coach, and you're going to see a lot of situations like this as we keep talking.
Yeah.
And then you leave before the bowl game. You do all this work. It just shows you don't care about the team.
Yeah.
It's just about the money. It's just about the step into going into the next team. It's kind of sad. There should probably be a rule against it in my mind. Like, come on. You've worked with your team this entire time to go 10-3, and you're just going to abandon ship for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it is Lane Kiffin, so you know.
This is true. Camellia Bowl. So you get in the Camellia Bowl, you have 6-6 Florida International versus Arkansas State, who's a whopping 7-5.
We were talking. It's kind of embarrassing. You can go 6-6 as a team and get a bowl game.
Yeah.
Like why? And I get it. It's money. All these teams. It's all about the money. It's all about the ad revenue of all like the advertisements that we're not even saying. But come on, like who cares?
But wait, Florida International beat a powerful ACC team.
Oh, they beat the amazing Miami Hurricanes. And because of that, I'm going to go with them. I'm going with Florida International to upset 7-5
over Arkansas State. Okay, let's move to the next one. Las Vegas Bowl. This one is more interesting and intriguing.
And it's been ranked
in a lot of ways.
Multiple different polls and different things. It's like the 7th most interesting bowl game right outside of all the New Year's Six bowls. So
you have one loss, Boise State, who is number 19. I mean, they only lost to BYU. And they're facing a 7-5 Washington, which you would think, 12-1 Boise State, 7-5 Washington. This is a lopsided match.
A couple of things to point. First, Washington crushed BYU.
Yes, they did.
Like demolished BYU.
Yeah.
Second, Washington has 5 losses with a combined 17 points.
Yeah.
So, you do the math there. That's about 3-point-something points per loss.
Yeah.
5-point difference against Oregon and Utah. They almost beat Oregon, and they almost beat Utah.
That's huge.
Came down to the very end of them losing both of those.
The two leaders of the Pac-12.
And it's Chris Peterson's last game for the Huskies as their head coach.
This is true. But you also pointed out that they have lost
a top wide receiver and lineman for the NFL.
That's pretty big.
This is true.
Also. So
there's so many factors going to this game, making it such an interesting matchup, not just for Boise State fans or Washington's fans, but everyone respects Chris Peterson. He's retiring.
Oh, yeah.
He was probably the main reason Boise State's relevant to this day.
Retiring or temporary retirement?
I don't know I think he might want to go into a kind of different role position. Okay. I know it's about stress management and different things for him. If I was his age, I'd be stressed too.
Yeah.
I don't know how Nick Saban does it.
It would be horrible to be making that much money. It'd be so stressful.
They'll probably start Jalen. Boise will probably start.
Sorry.
Boise will probably start Jalen Henderson,
most likely.
Senior. I'm gonna say I'm giving it to Boise. I think Boise will win this one. Our defense has stepped it up. Offensive line has stepped it up. Jalen Henderson's doing fantastic.
Washington really has a lot to prove for this one.
And as far as a bowl game that we could get, that is not a New Year's Six bowl and not a ranked team. It's exciting to go against Chris Peterson for his final game. It's kind of a slap in the face, I think, toward the bowl. It's obvious they probably chose this just for the clicks and the views.
Almost a nostalgia part, yeah.
But, so go Broncos. I do think they win this game.
Okay.
Even though they're not the favorites, apparently.
Yeah. Then you have the New Orleans Bowl. So in this one, not an interesting bowl in my mind.
No, mine
because
either.
You have 12-1 Appalachian State. They've done a really good job.
They really have 2 seasons in a row of doing a fairly good job.
They have, which means they've lost their head coach.
Yeah,
because of doing really well.
This is true.
Versus UAB, who's 9-4 and just lost horribly to Florida Atlantic.
We saw what happened when UAB faced a good Florida Atlantic team, and App State is better than Florida Atlantic.
They are.
So. Putting those two numbers together, App State, who beat South Carolina, who beat Georgia, therefore App State can beat Georgia. UAB doesn't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance.
I really don't think they do.
Yeah, it'll be a blowout.
So December 23rd, we move into the Gasparilla Bowl, which Gasparilla has something to do. It's in Tampa, Florida, so it has something to do with Pirates.
We have to look that up.
Yeah,
it's a parade or something.
We had no idea what it was. So you have 9-3 UCF. They're facing Marshall, who's 8-4.
Yeah. So UCF beat Stanford, and they handled Florida Atlantic very well. This was early on in the season where I would say Florida Atlantic they did better on the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. Marshall, up and down, they got crushed by Cincinnati. Almost beat Boise though. I'm gonna go with UCF.
Okay.
Based off of just experience, and they know how to win bowl games.
My hunch would be UCF as well. Yeah. I agree with that one. So the next day, December 24th, Christmas Eve, we have the Hawaii Bowl. Who doesn't want to be in Hawaii? Well, maybe Hawaii.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But they are. They're 9-5 Hawaii, who just lost to Boise State in the Mountain West Championship. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, Hawaii, for making it to the Mountain West Championship. So they're going to face BYU, who's 7-5, which I think. I think BYU, even though it's 7-5 doesn't sound good, I think they're a better team than 7-5 sounds.
Yeah, they beat Boise State, Tennessee, USC. They've done fairly well. They're an independent team, so most of the opponents they face are Power 5 of some sort. Whether they don't have to be top tier Power 5, but they are in the Power 5.
Sure.
I don't. If Hawaii, for some reason, I couldn't figure out why has played 14 games.
Yep.
So far in this season, which is more than like
anybody else
that I've seen so far. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm going to lean towards Hawaii just because their quarterback he just tosses. It's so hard to beat a team,
and it's at home.
Yeah, and it's at home. That's so true.
Is big. Yeah.
But I mean, surely if you're BYU, you're excited to go to Hawaii. Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii for their bowl game?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? I mean, like
I want to.
I almost wish Boise could go to Hawaii just so the players don't have to endure Las Vegas again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So the day after Christmas, on the 26th, we have a couple bowl games. Independence Bowl, where you have 9-3 Louisiana Tech versus 6-6 Miami.
I'm gonna go with Louisiana Tech. There's just Louisiana Tech 9-3. You know they want to show that they're a good team. They're facing a Power 5 team, if you want to call Miami that, or the ACC Maybe. That. You do you. Ooh. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Louisiana Tech. Miami's just not a good team.
They're not, and I think that 6-6. They haven't beat anybody who really matters.
Except Virginia.
Virginia, who
they competed with Clemson.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
okay.
Anyways,
so then if you move to the next one is the Quick Lane Bowl. Something about bowling? I don't know. Quick Lane?
Probably not.
I don't know, but something. So you have 7-5 Pitt. Pittsburgh is going to face Eastern Michigan, who's 6-6.
Eastern Michigan. Okay.
What do you do with this?
Well, Pitt beat UCF. Early on in the season, when UCF was like, we're still national champions or whatever.
Yeah.
So they did the world a favor. So because of that, I'm going with Pitt.
Okay. That's good enough reason for me.
Thank you.
There we go. So December 27th, we have the Military Bowl. You have 6-6 North Carolina, who probably has nothing to do with military. And you have Temple, who's 8-4.
They don't have anything to do with military.
No, I don't think they did. But this is Military's Bowl. So what do you see happening in this one?
What's North Carolina's coach name? Mac Brown?
Yes.
The Texas coach.
Yeah, he was.
I should know this.
Oh
well.
I know. You just threw me off as well.
They almost beat Clemson by 1. So that being said, Temple did beat Memphis.
Yeah, they did.
Memphis' only loss. I don't know. This is kind of interesting to me. Yeah. I'm probably gonna go with Temple beating North Carolina, but I would watch out for this one.
Yeah, I agree with that one. The Pinstripe Bowl. You have 6-6 Michigan. They're facing Wake Forest, who's 8-4. So Wake Forest has a better record, but they're in the ACC.
Neither team.
How do you play that one off?
Yeah, so neither team beat any ranked opponents.
No,
as a matter of fact, Wake Forest only played one ranked opponent, and that was Clemson. Michigan State, on the other hand, I think 4 of their 6 losses are against ranked opponents. Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, all these teams that I think they played throughout the year, ranked teams. I'm going to go with Michigan State.
So you're saying this is a game worth watching?
I'm saying if there's a team matched up against an ACC team, and just because that ACC team has a better record doesn't mean anything. Because the ACC just isn't a good conference.
Yeah.
You're talking about most of these teams are just bottom of the barrel Power 5 teams in the first place, like the majority of the conferences. So just because Wake Forest has 2 more wins than Michigan State means nothing. You put Wake Forest in Michigan State's conference, you put them in the Big Ten, they're not going to get a bowl game.
Okay. Let's move on because, I agree with that. The Academy Texas Bowl, you have 8-4 Oklahoma State versus Texas A&M.
Kind of interesting.
It is.
This is a good matchup. Big 12.
Texas A&M has had a very disappointing season.
They definitely have.
Yeah.
They honestly didn't really compete against any of the top teams that they faced.
No, they did not.
Oklahoma State also didn't really compete against the top teams that they faced. Mm-hmm. So I think this just comes down to Big 12 or SEC. And in my mind right now, for these 2 teams...
Oklahoma State?
I think I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I thought so.
Just because I think Oklahoma State at least competed in some of theirs. Texas A&M, we saw what LSU did to them.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody else. So,
Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So then you have the next one is the Holiday Bowl. And in that one, you have number 22 USC, and they're going to be facing number 16. So one of these first ranked versus ranked teams that they're going to be playing, it's number 16 Iowa.
And Iowa had a relatively decent year. We'll start with USC. So USC beat Utah early on in the season. Less impressive now that Oregon crushed them. Mm-hmm. And almost beat Notre Dame. Both of those teams are ranked, I think, in the top 15 now here at the end. They did lose to like BYU. But we said BYU had an up and down season too, so they didn't have a bad year. Iowa beat Minnesota. It was the crazy upset win against Minnesota when Minnesota was still undefeated, and then lost to Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin by a combined 14 points.
Yes,
they almost beat most of these teams.
This is true. Yeah,
I gotta go with Iowa. Okay. I think they're a good team. I do.
Yeah, I think they probably have an advantage. Cheez-It Bowl. You have 10-2 Air Force versus Washington State, who's 6-6. This one, I'm sorry, I'm just leaning for Air Force. I really think Washington State just had a really poor season.
Their quarterback is good though. Washington State has a gunslinger quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it'll be close. Man, I guess I'll go with Air Force, but I do think Washington State could win this.
All right. So on December 28th, we have the Camping World Bowl. And in that one, you have 10-2, which number 15 Notre Dame, and they're gonna be playing Iowa State, who's 7-5.
Yeah, I guess Notre Dame has a couple decent wins under their belt.
Yeah,
they beat Virginia, USC, and Navy. That's about it. Yeah. Honestly, they lost a couple big games like Georgia. Iowa State beat Texas, almost beat Oklahoma. I'm going to go with the upset on this one.
Are you?
I'm going to say Iowa State beats Notre Dame.
Yeah, I still lean towards Notre Dame on this one.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right, December 30th, we have the First Responder Bowl. And in that one,
Westerns.
The Westerns facing off. Western Kentucky versus Western Michigan.
8-4, 7-5.
Not a clue.
I'm going to go with Sunbelt Western Kentucky over, I believe, the MAC of Western Michigan. Okay. So Western Kentucky wins.
Sounds good. Then we have the Music City Bowl, and you have 7-5 California versus 6-6 Illinois. I would probably tend towards Cal in this one.
I'm going to go with Cal on this one as well.
Not just because of the 7-5, but I just think that they probably overall are a better team than.
For sure.
Yeah, so than Illinois. We'll see. December 31st, we had we missed one, right?
Yeah, we missed one.
So we missed the Music City Bowl. We don't want to miss that one.
Of course not.
Because we got 6-6 Mississippi State versus 7-3 Louisville.
And again, I'm going to lean with Mississippi State just because of what I said about the ACC. You're 7-5, your record's better. You played no one.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Mississippi State wins.
All right. So December 31st, almost at the end of the year. And we have the Belk Bowl. We have a few bowls in this one.
We do.
Belk Bowl, 8-4 Virginia Tech versus Kentucky, 7-5. This is, even though we don't have great records in this one, this is an interesting matchup.
I think it's interesting too. I think, so Kentucky has that wide receiver turned quarterback.
Yes.
Who can run like nobody's business. Virginia Tech, second half of the season, fairly disappointing.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry. Virginia Tech, second half of the season, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because the beginning of the season, they looked like
horrible.
They weren't even going to get a bowl game.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So you're looking at a 8-4 Virginia Tech team who probably was like, crap, this is just not a good year. Yeah. And they probably did it for Bud Foster. It's his final season here. I'm going to go Virginia Tech because of that. They're going to play hard. They're going to give it all they got.
I'm thinking Kentucky.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I really think that they have come along stronger in the end of the season with this wide receiver turned quarterback.
That's fair.
And so I'm thinking Kentucky might do this one. So let's move on to the next one, Sun Bowl. Sun Bowl, you have 6-6 Florida State versus 7-5 Arizona State.
Lord knows how Florida State got a bowl game.
This is true.
I got to go with Arizona State.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't
losing a coach.
Whatever Memphis' head coach coming to Florida State, I don't think he's coaching this game.
I don't think so either.
Arizona State wins.
Liberty Bowl, you have 9-2, number 23 Navy versus Kansas State, who's 8-4.
Man.
Kansas State beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, Kansas State is Oklahoma's only loss.
Yeah.
And
No.
maybe didn't really beat any of the top teams in their conference, which would be like the Memphis, Cincinnati type teams. So I do think Kansas State wins this one in the end, for sure.
Okay. All right. So next one is the Arizona Bowl. We have 7-5 Wyoming versus Georgia State, who's also 7-5.
So both of these teams got their first wins against SEC teams. Georgia State stunned Tennessee. Wyoming beat Missouri. Now both of those teams, Tennessee and Missouri, not that great.
Yeah.
I'm super Mountain West biased when it comes to Group of 5 teams. I'm going to go with my Wyoming on this one.
All right. Sounds good to me. Alamo Bowl. So you have 11-2, number 11 Utah versus Texas, who's 7-5, and I think Utah is pretty disappointed at this point,
for sure.
But
we looked at. I was like, I wondered. So who Utah beat to earn this number 11 ranking? No one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is true.
No one.
Yes,
I do not. So it's
and
no
gets
wonder.
Destroyed by Arizona.
It's no wonder.
I mean, Oregon. Sorry.
Yeah, it's no wonder that Utah lost to Oregon. They played nobody. They beat no top opponents.
As you mentioned, Texas is. They were close with LSU.
I think this could be another upset.
And also Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma. They almost beat LSU and Oklahoma.
So you're saying Texas could probably take Utah?
Texas can take Utah.
Wow. Okay. That's big. So January 2nd, we have the Birmingham Bowl here in Birmingham, Alabama. So you have 6-6, Boston College versus number 23, Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's probably pretty disappointed to be in this.
I would agree. Especially 6-6 and an ACC team.
Yeah.
Cincinnati better win this one if they want any respect.
Yeah,
because their losses, Ohio State and then both to Memphis, crushed by Ohio State, and then Oh
Absolutely.
well, it's a tough season for them. Cincinnati wins.
Yes. So then you have the Gator Bowl, and you have 8-4 Indiana versus 7-5 Tennessee. This is a riveting game.
Okay, so the interesting fact about this one, Tennessee started 1-4.
Yes, they did.
And everyone was like, they're not even making a bowl game this year.
They're horrible.
They finished the season 6-1.
And the only loss... They didn't finish the season 6-1. That wouldn't be...
Like the last 7 games, they finished 6-1, and the only loss was to Alabama in that stretch.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Tennessee.
There you go.
They make it 7-1 in the final 8 games.
Okay. January 3rd, we have the Idaho Potato Bowl in Boise Stadium. You have 6-6 Ohio versus Nevada, who's 7-5.
It's going to be a cold game.
Cold game.
Nevada wins, Mountain West.
There we go. January 4th, we have the Armed Forces Bowl, 7-5 Southern Miss versus Tulane, who's 6-6.
Man, I'm going to go with Southern Miss.
Yeah.
7-5, the record's better.
Honestly,
neither of these teams have played anybody or beat anybody.
Same here. Yeah. Then 6th of January, you have the something bowl, Leadington Tree or something like that. 10-3 Louisiana versus Miami of Ohio.
Miami's the MAC champions.
Who's 8-5? Yeah.
Louisiana almost beat App State to be Sun Belt champions.
I'm leaning towards Louisiana.
I am too. I think the Sun Belt is definitely better than the MAC. So Louisiana wins.
All right. So that is what we're looking at. We're going to please join us as we talk about the playoffs and the New Year's Six bowls, some of the bigger bowls that are coming up. But thank you for joining us.